According to your bio, quote unquote, it all started at the age of 13. His cousin gave him a laptop. He then self-taught himself the all-in-one production software called FL Studios and started to record himself in his room. His first song was Forever by Drake, Chipmunk Style remix. He dropped it on YouTube in 2009 and called himself Lambo Kid in MySpace. Heavily influenced by Drake, Soulja Boy, and Kanye West. Living in a rough environment like Orange, New Jersey, music felt like Smoove's only escape. A year later, on September 12, 2010, his apartment building caught on fire. He then lost everything, even his most prized possession, his laptop, with all his beats on and music he had been working on. While suffering from depression, he gave up on music at 14, then moved to, I don't know how to pronounce that city in New Jersey. It starts with a V.
Oh, Vauxhall.
Vauxhall, New Jersey.
Yeah.
That October 2020, where he was a new student at Union High School. During high school, he got heavily involved in poetry, graduating in 2014. After reading that, I do want to hone in here on that fire.
Yeah.
Can you explain, give me the backstory on that fire, what happened that day, and how things unraveled?
That day was like, it was like one of the most fucked up days, in my opinion, because like, it was literally a day after 9/11. It was a day after 9/11. It was September 12th, 2010. And at that time, it was a Sunday morning. And we was getting prepared. My mom was getting prepared. Like, we was all getting dressed to go to church that morning because it was something at my church called a moisson, which is like an annual thing they do every year. I went to a Haitian church at the time. And so we're getting prepared for the moisson, and like literally we're in the building, and then we smell smoke. We smell smoke, and then the fire alarm was just ringing, like, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, the alarm was just ringing, and you could see the smoke coming. You see smoke coming outside. Mind you, we live in the 3rd floor, so you could see the smoke coming up, like, from in the air, like, as you're looking outside the window. And we're rushing down. Everybody starts evacuating the building. It was 399 Lincoln Avenue. It was like one of the biggest complexes, biggest apartment buildings in Orange. And it was literally, it was horrible because the whole building started catching on fire, starting from the very top. And everybody started evacuating. And as we're downstairs waiting, as everybody, it's like hundreds of, every resident that lived in the building was just waiting downstairs. And this shit was just terrible because we're witnessing our building just catch on fire. So it was very emotional at the time, definitely, because like, I don't know what's next. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, what is next? I just didn't know what was gonna happen. So, yeah, it was just a fucked up day. Honestly, it was a fucked up day.
Now, there are people watching this that see this type of headline on local news. So-and-so building catches on fire, but no one ever really sees what happens after that. They just see the headline. Maybe a couple days later, a cause comes out.
Yeah.
But no one ever sees what happens of the displacement of the people that lived in so-and-so building. What happens when the news headlines go to another headline and it's not talking about that fire anymore?
I mean, it's rough because like when it had happened, like literally we went straight to the high school because there was Orange High School is literally up the street. So everybody who lived in that building went to the high school for shelter. So we went to the high school for shelter, and we stayed there for about a couple of days while we're trying to figure out what happened. And it turns out it was like an electrical, it started in the basement of the building. It was some type of electrical problem which carried out all across the building, which made it like completely started catching on fire. So as soon as we found out, and we were still in the shelter at the time. So basically my aunt who lived in Orange, she lived in Orange at the time, and basically we moved, and it was 6 of us, 6, 7 of us, including my grandmother, 6, 7 of us. We all went, after leaving the shelter for 3-4 days, we all went to my aunt's house. So we stayed in my aunt's house. We're all cramped up in this little apartment, and we just don't know what's next. Like my dad was like my parents was just all over the place. They didn't know what was gonna happen. Like financially, we was all over. We was just not there, you know. And watching them, I don't know, it was just a lot. It was crazy. Like the type of effect a fire has on a family, we lost everything, you know. We lost everything. It was hard to. It was just crazy because we definitely lost everything.
This was an aunt on your mother's side or father's side?
You said what?
Was this aunt on your mother's side or father's side?
Oh, my aunt.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom's side. This is my mom's older sister.
Do you become homeless?
We were homeless. We were homeless, but we were staying with her. You know, we were staying with her until we finally found us. My parents finally found a spot. They're urgent there because while we were staying with my aunt, they were constantly looking for apartments. Every day they'll go out. They'll try to look for apartments on Craigslist, and then they found a spot on. It was in Vauxhall. Vauxhall is basically Union, but it has a different name because it's like a separated community. It's the same city, but it's like it has its own little like. So basically, if you live in Vauxhall, you go to Union High School. Basically the same like you're living in Union. So we found a 2-bedroom apartment there. My mom had found a 2-bedroom apartment there, and all seven of us moved into that 2-bedroom apartment. And at that time, it was crazy because like I'm transitioning from Orange, New Jersey, going to school with all black kids. You know what I'm saying? Like it was not really diverse. Like Orange, New Jersey was not diverse. I probably was in class with a Caucasian, another a white boy or a white girl. Like I was in class with them. Probably never been in class with a white boy or a white girl. So I came to Union. Like we finally moved in. It was like so the fire happened in September. We moved in around October. So I transferred in to Union around October. And it was crazy because I'm coming from a school that's not diverse, where I was wearing uniform my whole life, and I'm transitioning into not wearing uniform. I'm like it's like super diverse. Like I'm talking about like there's I see Asians with the black kids. I see the black kids with the white kids. Like I'm just like, whoa, what is this? So it was super dope to see that diversity. And what was cool about the whole fire was like at the time I had no clothes. Like literally all my clothes burned down. I was going to school with uniform, so I didn't even have drip either ways. Like there was no. I probably had one pair of jeans and like a few t-shirts and all uniform at the time. But I ended up losing everything. And what was dope about the whole experience was there was this one lady that lived in Millburn, New Jersey, and she recently lost her son. She recently lost her son, and she was doing donations to like people who lost their houses, who lost their house through a fire. So my dad we went over to her house, right? Like bless her soul, like she's really an amazing woman for this. She gave me all her son's clothes, his sneakers, when I tell you like that shit changed my life because it showed me that there was good in this world. Because at the time I was filled with hatred because I lost my laptop, which was literally like my most prized possession, which had all the beat. Like I'm just getting into music. I had my beats in there. I lost every single thing. You feel me? Everything. And I had no clothes whatsoever. So like it was to have a woman donate all her son's clothes who recently passed to a random kid that had nothing. That meant a lot to me. And then I was able to come to that school. I was able to come to my first day at Union High School. I will never forget it because I never felt so fly like that before. You know, I had Abercrombie on. I had the Abercrombie on. I had some Adidas. I had the Hollister jeans. I was fly as fuck. And then like just because of how I approached the first day of school, like everybody wanted to be my friend. How fly I was. I never ever felt like that before. You know what I'm saying? So everybody wanted to be my friend in the lunchroom, and I was like automatic. I was already sitting in the table with the coolest kids. Like cause the way my high school was set up, it was like if you know how the teenage movies are, like everybody's like separated, got their own little lunch tables. You got the cool kids, you got the geeks. I would say, you feel me? The geeks. You got the anime kids. You got the soccer players, the football players. They all separate and got their own little table. So at my first day, it kind of meant a lot. Like, you feel me? Now I don't give a fuck because I'm much older. I'm not in high school, but like my first day, I was sitting with the cool kids just because of like how my drip, like what I was wearing, and it was dope as hell, yo. It was so dope. That was one of the positive moments of like the whole fire thing. But yeah,
Came at a cost, though.
definitely came at a cost. Definitely came at a cost.
Now, these clothes that you received, did they fit you perfectly?
Perfectly. I'm talking about like this is like when I had a few Aeropostale. This was like when Aeropostale was like hot. Like I'm talking about hot. This is 2010. Like this shit was hot at the time. And she gave me a lot of Aeropostale. Like her son had a lot of Aeropostale, a lot of Hollister. I'm talking about like the latest Hollister. Like if you was wearing Hollister at the time I was in high school, you was like you was that nigga. You feel me? So she gave me the newest. I had the newest Hollister hoodies, Abercrombie hoodies. I had a lot of Abercrombie hoodies. I had Obey. You know Obey was hot at that time. I had Obey hats. Like literally gave me his whole like wardrobe. I'm talking about like straight drip. And shit was fucked up, but it was like a blessing just to see where I'm starting. It was a fresh start. It was definitely a fresh start because like even in Orange, I was surrounded around like a lot of bad influence. A lot of my friends were like basically like they're not the people that I should have been around with, and just to be out in that community and start fresh and seeing a whole new world, that shit was beautiful.
Did you like the diversity?
Loved it. I loved it. It was just dope. Like, I'm somebody. I like making friends. You know, like I don't think I don't know. Like I was just not that awkward new kid. Like I was hungry to make friends. Like I wanted to talk to everybody. Like really just get to know everyone. Like it was so dope, man. Like no cap, that shit was tough.
Wasn't nervous, didn't feel awkward of the diversity, wasn't a culture shock?
It was not. I don't know. Like it was not a culture shock at all because I felt so comfortable with the new like drip that I had. Like I had enough confidence. It was a different confidence as soon as I stepped into high school that I never felt before. I don't know. It was definitely interesting. Yeah.
If you didn't have this drip, it might have been a different story.
I would say so.
Or a different experience.
Different experience because one thing about that school, they really judge you based off like what you wear. Like I'm talking about like you come to school with some bullshit, like you're gonna get roasted. And mind you, like the table I used to sit at, like we will roast, like niggas will be roasting you all day. Like if you come in with a bad fit, I'm talking about there was this one kid, one of my boys, yo, he was like the master roller. Like you do not want to fuck with him. Like if you come with a bad fit, he'll just make you feel bad. So like I definitely would say like if I did not have that drip, I would lack confidence my first day in junior high school. No cap.
On the outside perspective, let's do an outer body experience. Let's take you looking at yourself from outside. What do you think about that, being judged by the clothing you wear?
It's sad, but it's like, it's society. Like, yo, that's
judging a book by its cover.
A lot of people gonna judge you a lot of people gonna judge you before they even get to know you. Basically, perception. Perception is everything. That's one. Like me being 24 now, I learned it. I definitely learned that perception is everything. How people see you is how they're gonna judge you. If you come, you feel me, fly. You're dressed properly. Hygiene. They're good. Like people are gonna look at you with respect. People are gonna, you feel me, not downplay you. You feel me? Like, but if you come, you're like like you're not really up to date with yourself. People won't look at you like you could be doing super well, but because of how you perceive, like how you look, they're gonna treat you differently. So perception is everything. That's how I move, like how I approach, how I like dress says a lot about myself. You get what I'm saying? That's how I'm able to like tell people who I am with the way I dress. And yeah.
Now, what age were you back then when this occurred?
When the fire happened, I was 14 years old.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bio did say that. And now what age are you at this point?
I'm 24 years old, so 10 years later.
And for time reference, it's 2021. It's March 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still feel that way about clothes and being judged by clothes that you did back then, 10 years later?
I mean,
Have things changed or no?
I wouldn't. Mm, because I like getting fly. I like wearing. I don't know. My clothes say a lot about me. You know, I feel like what I wear will really say. I don't know.
But the act of people judging a person based on their clothes, what you experienced and felt 10 years ago, do you think it's still exactly the same like that today, or have things changed?
No, things definitely didn't change. Things definitely didn't change. Because in middle school, like, yo, I'm talking about, I used to get bullied for just looking nerdy. Like, it was fucked up, you know? But I don't think things changed. Like, that's still the same shit, yeah.
So you've seen both sides.
I've definitely seen both sides. Like, I've been in that nerd side and I've been in that cool side. And I've seen how people treat you. Like, I don't, like, just being in school, like that shit crazy.
How long did you end up staying with your aunt for during that period before you?
So September to like late October, and September to about late, so about like 2 months, roughly about 2 months.
Do you know if your family had insurance at that time?
No, we didn't even have insurance for the apartment building. Like, no.
So when you lost all your contents on the inside, there was no getting replacement on that?
Nothing back, like nothing.
What did that whole experience teach you? Out of all the different things you experienced and endured from that fire, from the clothes to the displacement to the diversity at that school, I mean, maybe other elements we didn't discuss. Overall, what did you take away from that?
Pain is temporary, and you have to just stay true to yourself whenever you're going through difficult times. Because if you don't like, you just gotta like know that, yo, I'm gonna like overcome this. I can't let this stop me, because you have to progress no matter how bad the shits may seem at the time. It's probably just a test. Because this is how I look at life now, to be honest. You go through fucked up things just to learn. It's a learning. Fucked up things are a learning experience. Now I look at it, to be honest, that fire was probably one of the best things that happened in my life. You know why? It took me out of that hood. Like I was living, literally, I didn't know it because I was naive. I was so naive to it. I'm talking about I'm walking up Lincoln to go to the middle school, and I would see shit, but I would it was just a norm to me, you feel me? It was just such a norm where like I was just naive to it. And that fire took me out of that situation. I'm talking about like just being surrounded by people who are gonna influence me in a negative way. I was able to get out that situation, and being able to go to Union, being in a diverse school, better education, just I don't know. It was just I really think it was the best thing ever. Like, honestly.
Let's say, well, I want to piggyback off one thing. When you did receive that donation of clothes from this person that passed away, did you, and I'm asking this respectfully, I don't know if you're a germ freak or not, but do you feel germy about receiving these clothes? Do you feel grossed out at all because this person did pass away? And were these brand new clothes, or were these gently used clothes?
Some were new with the tags, and some were like gently used.
When it came to the, before you put an answer, I want to just ask one more thing. Did you feel so germy, grossed out? Did you feel?
I felt blessed.
The other thing I was going to say was, did you feel maybe spiritually this person was with you in some sort of manner? You know, just throwing all those different points out there.
I mean, no.
Okay.
I was humble. I was very humble at that time. And I was just happy to receive what I got, honestly. I never looked at it like, yo, I was not grossed out because, I Like, it was a very tough time. So, like, that's the least thing that's going to gross me out, you know?
And you wore both items, the gently used and the new.
Yes.
And let's say somebody's watching this and maybe they just lost everything from a fire themselves.
Yeah.
Anything you'd say to them?
Damn, like, you just have to understand, like I said earlier, like, the shit don't last. Like, if you're going through something hard, especially a fire, that shit, you're gonna lose everything. You're gonna lose everything, but you can't let it affect you in a negative way. You have to keep on pushing and living your life. You just have to keep living your life. Just don't let it stop you. Yeah.
Is there anything you would have done differently looking back at this situation on bouncing back or how you handled everything after the fire took place?
No, I mean, I couldn't. I was a child, so I couldn't really do much. Nah, like, everything was like meant to happen. Like, it was meant to be. Like I said, like, I'm a strong believer in the law of attraction. So, like, what's gonna happen is what's gonna happen.
What's your take on insurance? Like a home were you guys renting at the time?
It was renting, so
Okay.
I didn't even think we had insurance. Like, that was just like something. It was the building's fault, but we were not even covered. They didn't give us nothing.
But I think, and people could fact check, I think there's policies that, like they call it renter's insurance or something, that you can get that will insure the contents of what's in a rental property. What is your take on that? What is your opinion on that? How do you look at that now, being that at one point you didn't have, I mean, obviously it was out of your control. You were really young. You couldn't buy insurance even if you wanted to. But now that you are of age and you can afford it, if you were to get in a situation where you're renting some sort of establishment, a place, whatever, how do you look at a renter's insurance policy?
Most definitely get one, because you don't know what the fuck gonna happen. You know? You could just be chilling one day, you getting high in the living room, and then, like, you forgot something on the stove for like extra 5 minutes in your house, catch on fire. Like, I don't know, like, after that whole shit, I suffered a little post-traumatic stress disorder, a little PTSD. When I would see, like, smoke, that shit would freak me out. For a good, like, for me, that was like a good, like, 3-4 years after that whole situation happened. Like, I definitely had a little PTSD. Like, if I see smoke, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, you know? It's just, you can't help certain shit like that. But definitely, insurance is like a key. You need that. You definitely need that.
This PTSD, were you actually diagnosed with that, or that's just an assumption here?
No, it's just an assumption. I was not diagnosed.
In the bio, it also said you suffered from depression.
Yeah, I was definitely sad. Like, shit, it was, wow. I was, like, literally, I was crying, man. Like, you feel me? Like, you 14, you lose everything, you gonna cry. Like, that shit sucks, yo. It hurt.
The depression, was that also ever diagnosed, or was that a self-diagnosis there?
Self-diagnosed, never diagnosed with depression.
And you were bullied at one point, even before this took place.
For sure, yeah.
How did you cope with, how did you cope with the self-diagnosed depression, and how did you cope, well, let's start with that. How did you cope with the self-diagnosed depression when it occurred?
I try to find, like, what makes me happy. Like, I would work
out.
out.
Let me cut you off. I'm sorry. Was this depression that you faced, the self-diagnosed depression, was this a one-time situation, or is this something you've battled with after, or continue to battle with?
It happened a few times where, like, fucked up situations occurred in my life, but with the whole fire, like, that was a different level of depression I had to, like, battle, because it was like, it was tough, you know. It was tough, and I don't know. I just found, like, I started exercising. I slowly started getting back into my music again. Poetry was huge. Poetry played a huge factor in helping me get back into, like getting out of that shit. You feel me? Like, just, I don't know. That's really poetry, really, for real. And just exercising got me out of that situation.
What about the PTSD, self-diagnosed? Was that a one-time situation that you were able to overcome, or is this something that you continue to experience throughout your life?
I definitely overcome it because, like I said, it happened after the first 3-4 years. I experienced it, and then out of nowhere, just like disappear. I just don't get nervous when I see smoke no more. But it was just a one-time thing.
Because you have battled with different levels of self-diagnosed depression since the fire incident, ever seen a professional over this since?
No.
Do you want to see a professional for it? Do you feel like you need to see a professional for it?
No, because I talk to my family. I talk to God whenever I need help, and yeah.
You go ahead.
No, that's really it. Whenever I feel like I need some help, my family or God got me. That's really it.
Speaking of God, and you mentioned your parents had taken you to church, you know, when you found out about the fire. Do you follow a religion?
Definitely. I'm religious. I'm religious, and I don't know. I just grew up in church. Like I grew up being in the choir. I went to a Haitian church. Like, so the Haitian church I went to, it was in East Orange. Like, and in the Haitian church, we're a community. We're a small community. Like, everybody treat each other like family. So I grew up knowing that. I grew up like going on stage and singing for the choir. Like going like during Christmas time. Like I do the plays. Like I was like, you get what I'm saying? Like I participate in my church. Like growing up, I participated a lot in church, and I think that's why I like how I am today, because like I'm always thankful. I feel like I'm blessed, and I don't know, like you just really got to be blessed. Like, to be honest, you got to be blessed.
Well, care to share what religion it is you follow?
Baptism, Christianity.
And that's because that's how you were raised.
That's how I was raised, yes.
How did you cope with the bullying?
The bullying, it was rough, man. Like, I mean, because I was small, you know, like I'm in middle school. I was always a short kid, you know. I was always a short, scrawny kid. So, like, I was always a target. And especially I wore glasses. Now I wear contacts. I've been wearing contacts for the last 6 years. But, like, in middle school, elementary school, I was wearing glasses. I had thick glasses. I was not fly. Like, I'm talking about, like, I just had no drip. And, like, I was just a target for weak-minded bullies. You get what I'm saying? Like, I was just a target, and sometimes I'll do nothing, and motherfuckers just want to pick on me. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was just, I just coped with it. It was just like, I don't know, like, nah, like, it was just, I didn't let people get to me. I had tough skin. Like, I'm talking about, like, people, there was times where, like, I got jumped for my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You get what I'm saying? Like, and then I was back, it was like, what, sixth grade? No, 5th grade. I got jumped for my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I hated the kid who took them from me. And I'm just like, why would y'all do that to me? Like, I was just like, I'm like, yo, you guys, like, why would y'all do that? I'm not doing shit to y'all. And like, literally, the Yu-Gi-Oh cards was what made me happy. So like, why would you take a kid who's like, not even, like, a kid who's already sad and not really, like, you feel me, have nothing, like, to live for, you're gonna take the only thing he has. So like, if you're bullying somebody, I feel like you're a coward, because like you're taking you're taking away their pride. But I'm somebody, like I said, I have tough skin. So I was able to overcome a lot of that shit and just look past it, like nothing, you feel me?
Would things get physical? I mean, obviously they did at one point because you got jumped.
Yeah.
Was that the only time it got physical, or did it get physical on repeated?
Oh, it got physical a couple times. Right here. I got a scar right here. That's when like it was in middle school and like this kid, like basically like they were fucking with me and shit. Like this kid was fucking with me, and like I remember I said some shit. I got in an argument. Like we was basically just like, it was like a verbal argument during lunchtime, and he was basically like, yo, we gonna see each other. That was a phrase if you want to fight somebody. Yo, I'm gonna see you after school. I'm gonna see you after 2:45. Like I'm gonna see you outside by the. It was like a little complex building that was right by the middle school, and they would say, yo, meet me by the complex. We gonna get right. So I remember like I was just walking like going home. I was just like minding my business. Motherfuckers came behind me, just snuck me. You feel me? And then like I was just getting jumped, and then you feel me, like right here, like my face like literally like slid in the side of the concrete, like in the floor, like in the ground. Like literally, I'm talking about I'm doing nothing to them. Like I'm in 7th grade minding my business, like, and niggas just want to fuck with you just because you look weak. And it's a fucked up world, but that shit happens. You feel me? If you look weak, you're gonna be a prey.
And this was in the predominantly black school.
Predominantly black school, yes. Orange Middle School, yeah.
Now, are you defending yourself? Are you fighting back? Are you standing up for yourself?
I was fighting back, you feel me? I was fighting back, and I was grateful to have I had 2 best friends at the time. We used to call ourselves like the 3 Musketeers. Everybody knew us as the 3 Musketeers. And like, them niggas really had my back, yo. Like, so certain, like when they see it about to go down, like they literally had my back type shit. So, I don't know. I had people who had my back, and I had a lot of people who didn't have my back. Yeah.
Do you involve teachers on what's going on? Do you involve higher faculty than that? Do you involve your parents? Do they know what's going on?
At the time, I don't know. My parents didn't really understand it, because, like I said, like I'm foreign. Like my parents were like Haitian immigrants. Like that's the least thing they want to give a fuck about. You know, like my dad at the time, like he was just like, we was poor. You get what I'm saying? So like he would come. He was working at Pathmark at the time, and he was working at Pathmark, and I was living on Lincoln, so he was working in Pathmark in South Orange. So my dad is like literally one of the most hardworking people I know. Like for me, if it wasn't for him, like I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in front of you talking right now. But like my dad, like I seen this man struggle to get to make us like happy. You know what I'm saying? Like to give us everything that we could possibly have, and he'll be like coming with mad bags from Pathmark, because he was working in Pathmark. He'll be coming with a lot of bags going up the hill, and the last thing you want to do is complain to him when you get home and tell him like, Dad, I'm getting, because he'll hear bullshit all day. So that's the last thing I want to tell my dad, like, yo, like kids are fucking with me, because you don't want to hear that. He's been working all day. So like, I don't know, I just never really try to tell my parents like shit that happens to me in school. Like I will like keep it a secret, which is terrible. You shouldn't keep it. You should seek out help. You should talk to a counselor. You should talk to the teacher. Sometimes I'll be too afraid to talk to the teacher, because like the kids will make threats. But like I said, like that was like the bullying chapter of my life. It happens. Shit happens. Like you just live and you learn.
And these were males bullying you or females?
I would say both. I would say mostly male, but females definitely bullied me too, like on some shit. It was crazy. Like wild.
What was the bottom point of the bullying? Was it when you had gotten that scar there from that one incident? Or was there even a worse point than that?
Nah, that scar was it for me. Like that shit was just like, why? It was just like, why? You know what I'm saying?
When you did defend yourself, when you would fight back, stand up for yourself, would that lead to suspensions of any sort, expulsions of any sort on your end?
Oh yeah, I remember I started a food fight in middle school, and like this kid basically like threw milk on me. I didn't start it. He started it. So he threw milk on me, and I threw like a whole tray of like, I think it was like macaroni, green beans, like hella bullshit. And then I threw it on him. Mind you, he started it. But because he was like an athlete, with the way the predominantly like black schools work, like if you're an athlete in those schools, like you get a lot of leeway. So I wasn't an athlete at that time in that middle school, so I didn't give a fuck. They said you started it, so I would get suspended for getting bullied. Like yo, so it's the shit would be crazy. It'll be like, why? What the fuck? Why is this happening? Like,
In school suspension, out of school suspension?
out of school suspension. Sometimes in school, sometimes out of school. In school is the worst. I'd rather be out of school than in school. But if I'm out of school, I got to deal with my dad. You feel me? And that nigga don't play. Like, you feel me? If I was like, I'd rather cry in front of the principal. I'd rather deal with the principal than my father, yo. For me, I'd rather like I do not want to deal with my dad. And having him, when he heard I was suspended one time, yo, he whooped my ass, bro. You feel me? So like, it was crazy.
It was over this incident?
Yeah.
So not only are you getting bullied
Mm-hmm.
in this incident, you get reprimanded for something that you didn't start,
Yeah.
but you did participate in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get home and you get punished
Yeah.
on what stemmed from bullying on you initially.
Yeah. To be honest, like, cause it didn't even matter if you protect yourself. Like my dad, like my parents, they didn't give. They're not those type of parents. Like they didn't say, "Yo, if somebody hit you, hit him back." Like, nah. You feel me? You take that L, and you keep chasing for excellence. That's how my parents. That's how my parents are. To be honest, like take that L, just keep chasing.
Looking back, would you have done anything different? Should you have done anything different when that kid poured milk on you?
Looking back, I feel like I did the right thing. Fuck him. For me, like I felt like at that time that was like that I was like, nah, I'm done taking L's. I'm done taking L's. And I was just like I'm done. You feel me? I don't regret it because that was me standing up for myself for the first time in middle school. You feel me? So I do not regret it.
When you did stand up to this bully in particular, did he stop bullying you after that?
Yeah, when I started showing like, yo, you can't fuck with me, you can't do this, you can't do that, like they definitely started like they just target weak people. If you show them you weak, they gonna prey on you. But if you show that you strong, I started showing like, yo, me doing that trade shit like gave me some type of clout, like which is the sad. Like why do I have to do a fucked up thing just for you kind of respect me? Just because I never stood up for myself ever. You didn't respect me just because I never stood up for myself. But now I stood up for myself. You like, okay, cool. He's standing up for himself now. Let's stop. Let's back off a little bit. It's fucked up, but that's how people think. That's how sick motherfuckers think.
Did the bullying stop at some point before the fire?
Um,
Or was it the fire and you getting moved to another school that it stopped?
the fire and moving to another school, that completely stopped. Completely stopped. Yeah.
Ever become a bully yourself?
Never. I cannot. I can't prey on people. I can't. I don't know. It's been done to me. So like, I can't do shit that's been done to me to other people. I don't wish bullying on my worst enemy because like, it affects you in a different way that you feel me like. It affects you. You can't say bullying don't affect anybody. It affects a person. It affects a child's psychological thinking. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Has anyone that ever bullied you in the past apologized for their actions?
For sure. Definitely. Now I'm doing this music shit. I feel like a lot of people like that used to fuck with me, like even when I got into college and I kind of got popping, whatever. Like I joined a frat, I started doing parties, I started doing all this lit shit. There'll be like people from my past that just come randomly pop up. Like I'll see them in parties, I'll see them in like functions. I'm like, what the fuck? And then trying to act like you feel me, like yo, what's good, bro? Like remember, like bro, like he used to fuck with me, and then like one kid, he was like, yo, bro, my bad. I used to like do all that shit to you, bro. You know, like, and I'm a forgiving person, bro. Like honestly, like I don't know, like you really just gotta, I don't know, like I'm a forgiving person. Like as long as as long as you don't do nothing crazy to my family, feel me, you good. Like you good. Like I'm always gonna forgive you. I'm always gonna forgive you.
How many bullies have apologized for their actions?
I say a few. I say a few. Some like they see me winning, so like everybody want to join the winning side. You know, everybody want to talk to whoever they feel like is winning, no matter how they used to treat them. Oh, man.
Did the person who or persons that took the UVO cards apologize? Did the person that spilled milk on you apologize? Did the person that uh, gave you that kind of got in a physical altercation which led to that scar apologize, or these were other bullies?
Nah, none of them actually apologized. The kid that took my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, yo, I think he's like I don't know. He's like, I don't know. He's in some shit right now. You feel me? I'm not gonna speak on his business, but you feel me? Like God's handling him because like he's for me. He's just how you treat people is how the world's gonna treat you. You know. But like I said, I don't wish nothing on my enemies. Like I don't wish none on. I don't have hate in my heart. You know. That's really it. I don't know. I just don't be having hate in my heart.
What do you say to someone watching this that's a bully?
Like, think, like, before you fuck with somebody, before you try to like mess with them, like you don't know where they come from, you don't know what they're dealing with at home, you don't know what kind of like depression they're going through. Like, you're only affecting them even more, you know, because not everybody has that strong mindset where they could take on a bully and just like learn from it, and just like completely like avoid like not try to let it get to their head. Not everybody thinks like that. Some people are weak. Like I'm not gonna say weak minded, but they don't have that way of thinking. They can't think like that. So therefore, you might psychologically harm them in a way moving forward in life. And what they're do, if they're in a problem right now, it's probably because you probably made them that way. So like treat people better. If you're bullying somebody, like that's not cool. You should treat people with respect and be expected to be treated how you would like to be treated.
What do you say to somebody watching this that's a victim of bullying?
If you're a victim, speak up. Talk to whoever you feel like can help you. Counselor. Talk to a counselor. Talk to your teacher. Talk to your friends. You know, talk to your parents. Get help. Don't just hide. Just don't hide your how you feel in a box, because when you hiding how you feel, like when you don't bottle up your emotions, because when you bottling up emotions, you're just gonna burst, like, and then you're just gonna explode, and you're just gonna do something that you're gonna regret. So talk to somebody, seek help. You know, that's my biggest advice to somebody who's getting bullied. Seek help. Don't be a victim.
And for time reference, it's March 2021.